obviously the first question for you is how you pronounce your name, but also on top of that, I was wondering. Obviously, it's a pen name. How did you choose it, and why did you decide to use it?
Well, I was originally when I used to do music. Well, I still do music, but when I first started out, I was using my real name, and I started having a lot of issues with stalkers who were actually able to find me.
Okay.
So I changed. I was looking for something that sounded a little magical, and Lowvee is actually an anagram for "we love."
Ah, okay.
And my family calls me Cole because my real name is Nicole, and my family calls me Cole. So I thought, Lowvee needed sort of a name with it, and I
Yeah.
thought Lowvee Cole. So I sort of kept a little bit of myself in there.
Ah, brilliant. Fair enough. And you mentioned the songwriting. I was wondering, how did that lead on to your writing? Do you think that both of them are all about storytelling, or?
Definitely. And it was something that I sort of realized after a while. What really moved me so much about music was the actual lyrics that went with it, the storytelling. And I just started to I know it sounds so lame, but J.K. Rowling was actually the one who got me into actually writing a story. I used to have a website called Fantasy Fic World, and I used to host and write Harry Potter fan fiction.
Oh, fair enough.
And from there, that's what led me into wanting to just tell a bigger story, wanting to create characters and worlds, and you can't really do that in a song.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, do you still write the fan fiction? Or?
No, I don't write fan fiction anymore. Now I'm really writing because I've decided this is really what I want to do with my
Yeah.
life. I want to be an author.
Cool. And in terms of obviously like Boundless Magic, there is you can see the sort of the Harry Potter influence there, but there's obviously all big Wiccan influence as well. I was wondering where that comes from. I mean, are you a Wiccan practitioner, or do you just find it interesting?
I find it very interesting. I've always found it interesting. I used to live in Boston, and a couple of friends and I went and visited Salem years ago, and I just found the whole practice just really interesting. And so I've always been into the whole magical thing to begin with. So that's what really
Set it off, yeah. And
set it off.
in terms of magic, I've got a question for you. What's the most magical thing that's ever happened to you?
I'm trying to think. Magical thing.
It's
That's
a
a good
difficult one,
question.
isn't it? Yeah.
Well, I would have to say, I'm going to probably get a little choked up, but my late stepfather coming into my life before he passed away, he was the one who got me, who gave me all kinds of support and helped get me into Berkeley to doing what I wanted to do, and just supporting me in everything. And he passed away in 2001, but I would say him. He just really made me helped me believe in myself, and so that's pretty magical to me. I know it might sound a little corny, but
no, it doesn't. No, that's cool. And one thing I noticed as well, actually, when reading Boundless Magic, so obviously it's written in first person. Was there a particular reason for that? And also, with Abigail's character, obviously as she's sort of narrating almost, how much of yourself did you put into her?
well, I have a fiery temper, and she does too, and I'm very clumsy. And I also, I think that I'm the kind of person that I'm the type that follows my heart, and sometimes it gets me into trouble. So I'd say that. And I like the first person. For me, it's easier for me to really get into the story and get into the character's head.
Yeah, I mean, I think it wouldn't really have worked any other way anyway. So no, that's interesting. And in terms of Boundless Magic, are you planning on turning that into a series, or are you gonna take your writing in a different direction after that? And what are you working on at the moment as well?
Actually, Boundless Magic is a 5-part series.
Okay.
I'm currently working on the second book, which is called The Hopi Mask. And that I'm hoping to have out by the end of the year. I've also, did I mention that is halfway finished?
Okay.
And I'm also, working on, which I just completed, another book called The Masked Heir, That is a woman's fiction piece based in the Victorian era, Victorian England, actually. I've just completed that. I'm doing my own editing before I hand it over to my editor. And in addition, I'm working on a science fiction project called Project Fission. I'm working on another YA love story called The Left Side of Love. That's going to be a gay and lesbian piece. And I'm also working on a women's fiction piece that I'm going to put an album with. It's going to be an acoustic album called Letters from Adrian.
I was going to say, because you've got your music on top of it, so it sounds like you're quite busy.
Yes, I'm very busy.
And in terms of you, obviously you mentioned that the Boundless Magick series, it's going to be a 5-part series. Is that, is that deliberately 5 parts to go with the 5 elements, or?
Actually, no, but that's funny how that worked out. Originally it was going to be a 4-part series, but I thought of another idea that I just thought I can't not write this. So, yeah. So I pretty much have it plotted out. I know how it's going to end. And I know vaguely what happens within each story.
And I mean, when you're writing, do the characters almost act on their own free will, or do you have a very strict idea of what they're going to do? Do they ever surprise you?
Sometimes they do surprise me, and sometimes they sort of get ahead of me, and I'm like, okay, no, wait a minute, okay, you got to calm down. I find that happens, that sometimes they get away from me, and I have to sort of refocus. So, but yes, I most of the time I have an idea what direction, what the personality of the person, and I literally can see them in my head. I'm a very visual person, so I literally can see and what they're doing and and I could know what they're going to say and everything. But sometimes I do find that an idea will come into my head and I'll be like, yes, okay, yes, this is going to work. And it does surprise me, yes.
Oh, that's brilliant. And without giving anything away, either, I mean, you can give us teasers of the future books, I suppose. But who are your favourite and least favourite characters to write about?
Who's my least favourite character?
Who's your favourite and who's your least favourite?
Oh, my favourite is Patrick. I love Patrick. In fact, when I wrote the story, it was originally 220,000 words. And I had to do a lot of cutting because that's the hard part about being an author, knowing what to cut out. And you have to really separate yourself from your work. And it took me a couple of years to be able to do that because I realized the book started taking a totally different turn, and it was all about Patrick and not about Abigail. And so I had to cut a lot of him out, but he's my favorite. I just think he's so cool. My least favorite is probably, I don't know. Because I love them all in their own way, but I guess I think Veronica, because she's not necessarily a terrible person, but she's very jealous, and she let her jealousy change who she was. She let it take herself over, and it was just a weakness that I just didn't like about her. And I guess I would say her. I just didn't like. I just find myself hating her the more. Although Circe was pretty bad too. I didn't really care for her too much. Yeah.
No, I can see what you mean though, especially with Veronica. I think you're right. I think she had a lot of potential to she could have been a good person, and she wasn't.
That's the part that really bothered me, is people choose darkness when they have the ability, to rise above.
And in terms of obviously, there were a lot of characters. Don't mention any names, but was it difficult to kill any of them off, or I suppose if you always knew that they were going to die at some point, was it any easier, or?
No, I actually cried when I killed off. Oh, that was a spoiler.
It's fine. I'll bleep it out. It'll be fine.
And actually, I was going to kill off Patrick too at the end, but then he was going to come back to life. But then I thought that was too cliche, and so I took that out of him dying. But yeah, it's hard because a piece of you sort of goes with it, because you created, that's part of you. You created that character, so that was hard, and especially because he was so young.
Yeah. Okay, so just a few quite fun questions to finish off on. So, if you had to choose one of the 5 elements to assign to yourself, which one would it be and why?
I think I would say water because I love the beach for one thing, and just the element. It's the element of healing, and I love that part of it.
Brilliant. And so actually, I suppose you've answered this one, but what's next in terms of not just your writing but your music as well? And what does success look like to you?
Well, my ultimate dream is to have obviously my book really succeed and become a nationwide bestseller. Right now, it has been on and off the Kindle charts as bestseller both in the UK and in America, so that's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
But with my I don't know, I'm more focused on my writing than I am on my music right now, but I am still working on some side projects. So one will be the Letters from Adrian, the acoustic set that'll go with that. And I'm also working on a song called Hear Me, which is going to be like an Evanescence sort of tune. But success for me basically would just making, like I said, success as an author. And I would really love to see one of my books made into a movie. That would be super cool.
Well, I'd go and watch it. So
I'm thinking big.